বিশ্বাস থাকলে তুমি ঈশ্বরের মহিমা দেখতে পাবে। তখন তারা পাথরখানা সরিয়ে ফেলল। আকাশের দিকে চোখ তুলে তাকিয়ে যিশু আবার বললেন, হে পিতা, আমার প্রার্থনা শুনেছ বলে আমি তোমাকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। আমি অবশ্য জানতাম যে তুমি সর্বদাই আমার প্রার্থনা শুনে থাকো। তবে আমার চারপাশে এই যে সমস্ত লোক দাঁড়িয়ে আছে, তাদের কথা ভেবে আমি এই কথা বললাম, যাতে তারা বিশ্বাস করতে পারে যে সত্যি তুমি আমাকে পাঠিয়েছ। এই কথা বলার পর যিশু জোরের সঙ্গে বলে উঠলেন, লাজার বেরিয়ে এসো। যে লাজার মারা গিয়েছিলেন তিনি তখন বেরিয়ে এলেন। তার হাত পা তখনও কাপড় খালি দিয়ে বাঁধা, তার মুখ তখনও কাপড় দিয়ে জড়ানো। যিশু এবার বললেন, ও সব বাঁধন তুলে দাও আর তাকে যেতে দাও। যে ইহুদিরা সেদিন মারিয়ার সঙ্গে দেখা করতে এসেছিলেন এবং যিশু যা করেছেন তা নিজেদের চোখে দেখেছিলেন, তাদের অনেকেই তখন তার প্রতি বিশ্বাসী হয়ে উঠল। প্রভু যীশু খ্রিস্টের মঙ্গল সমাচার।
প্রভু যীশু তোমার মহিমা প্রচারিত হোক।
Dear sisters and brothers in Jesus Christ, I greet each one of you in your homes, in your religious communities, in our presbyteries, or wherever you are. This special Holy Eucharistic celebration is a gift to each one of us, because today, being Sunday, the day of the Lord, when we remember the resurrection of the Lord and thank the Lord for His new life which He brings to us in His Word and the Eucharist, we also pray for one another. Today is the 5th Sunday of Lent, and a Lenten journey of faith, hope and love continues. During the last 3 Sundays, St. John, in his Gospel, has given us a beautiful description of 3 encounters. Encounters with the Lord, or encounters of the Lord with others. On the 3rd Sunday of Lent, Jesus encountered the Samaritan woman. And at the end of that encounter, Jesus gave her a new spirit, the living water, that would never bring her to that well of Jacob, but rather remain with her, satisfying her thirst for God. And in the end, Jesus sent her as a missionary because she believed in Him to spread that message to others. Last Sunday, the 4th Sunday of Lent, Jesus encountered that man who was blind from birth. And this encounter resulted in that man receiving sight, receiving light. Jesus proclaimed Himself as the light of the world. And today, the 5th Sunday of Lent, the Gospel according to John, the passage that we heard just now, from the 11th chapter of the Gospel according to John. In this passage, John offers us yet another encounter. Jesus declares Himself that He is life, that He is resurrection. And at the end of it, He gives new life, a second chance as it were, to live to Lazarus, his friend. the words of Martha and Mary both repeat these words as the Gospel tells us. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. These words, I feel, dear brothers and sisters, express our own sentiments today. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. If you had been here, we would not have been perhaps in this situation, closing ourselves in our homes or wherever we are. An experience that will continue for a number of days ahead. During the past 4 days, like Lazarus, we too have shut ourselves and are in need of hope as we see sickness and death around us. We too say with Martha and Mary to the Lord, Lord, if you had been here. Last Friday, on the 27th of March, our Holy Father, Pope Francis, asked all of us to join him in prayer, and the passage for reflection which he chose for the occasion was from the 4th chapter according to Mark, where Jesus was present with the apostles in the boat, but he was asleep. The disciples woke him up and said, Teacher, do you not care? We are perishing. Jesus woke up, rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And Jesus said to the apostles, Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith? Commenting on this, the Holy Father said, We carried on regardless, thinking we would stay healthy in a world that was sick. We carried on doing many things. Injustice perhaps, indifference, not caring for one another, giving God not the proper place He deserves, namely first place in our lives. But we carried on regardless, thinking we would stay healthy in a world that was sick. Now that we are surrounded by death, grief and sorrow, we implore you, Lord, if you had been here. Dear brothers and sisters, Jesus today invites us to faith. Do you believe? As he asked Martha. Her brother had died, but Jesus said, Do you believe that he will rise again? And of course Martha said, Yes, I believe that he will be raised to life the last day. But Jesus wanted her to believe that a miracle would be possible right there because he is there. In that encounter between Jesus and the two sisters, Martha and Mary, Jesus reveals those two important truths. I am the resurrection and the life. Jesus is the resurrection and the life. A great truth revealed by himself. And the second, whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And everyone who believes, everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? the question that Jesus is asking you and me, dear brothers and sisters, is the same. Do you believe this? Do you believe that I am love, light and life for you? Do you believe that I am the anchor of your life? In me you can have hope. Do you believe that I care for you? The answer of Martha was so beautiful. She said, not just as a human person, but as a believer. She said, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is coming into the world. A profession of faith. That the person who is in front of her is not just a human person, but the Son of God himself. What a belief. And faith, dear brothers and sisters, works miracles. As we know, Jesus was a friend of the family of Martha, Mary and Lazarus. He was not indifferent. Though we are told that when he was given the news that his friend Lazarus was ill, he took time to reach the place. And the Gospel says so beautifully, Jesus' own words. He said, this illness does not lead to death. It is for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. It was for the glory of God. So also last Sunday, when we had that miracle of Jesus curing the man who was blind from birth, when they asked whether his parents or he himself, named the blind man, had sinned, Jesus answered, it was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. Wherever Jesus is, the glory of God is displayed. The glory that Jesus reveals about the Father and about himself. Jesus was not indifferent to the event that took place, sad event that took place in the family in Bethany. We are told Jesus was moved when he came to the tomb, and when he saw that Mary and the others there were all weeping. The Gospel tells us those two simple words. John 11:35, perhaps the shortest sentence in the New Testament. Two words. Jesus wept. Jesus wept. Jesus was a compassionate shepherd. He would say, I have compassion on these people. I feel pity for these people. And his very attitude towards the poor, the sick, the sinners, the outcast, showed that beautiful attitude of concern, of care, love for the poor in every way. And here, Jesus speaks. What do we feel when we see the plight of the poor? I was watching on television the plight of all those laborers who have returned to their villages. Many of them walking miles and miles without any food, with a family, little children, women carrying whatever they have on their head. What a sight. It moves one with pity, compassion, brings tears to one's eyes. Jesus weeps today. Jesus weeps when he sees people in the condition of misery. Any type of suffering brings tears to Jesus' eyes. And that is what we ought to feel, dear brothers and sisters. And these tears moved him to action. He went to the tomb and he made uttered those beautiful words after prayer to the Father, Lazarus, come out. what happened is so beautifully described in the Gospel. The dead man came out